the study we're going to do today, it touched my heart because I feel all of us, especially in this moment, can benefit to talk about the family ties, the importance of the family, especially in this day that we are closer to our families. Many of us are inside of home, they are working at home, they are having the children at home, and more than ever, we need to study and be aware of the importance of the family ties. That's what we are going to talk about it. And we have these 3 books that are so precious, like Elena said, our beautiful doctrine that educate us in this matter. So we have the Gospel, This at Home. That is a wonderful book, especially to do Gospel at home. And this is a wonderful book to have, and Family Constellation as well. So we are going to talk about family. And right there in Jesus at Home, the Nelson Luz is a spirited, psychographic by Chico Xavier, narrated by the Master Jesus at the home of Simon Peter declared, "World's peace starts under the roof that shelters us." So right there, Jesus is telling us we cannot consider talking about peace without making the peace at home. So that shows the importance for us to learn it. And in the gospel, we learned that our family is done by design. It is amazing when we start studying the care that our spiritual family, our mentors get together to design our family. So it's very well studied, the planning, and we are going to see how it's done. Okay? So in our discarnate state, we ourselves choose our trials, our families, because we believe we were strong enough to bear it. So we understand that's the planning in the spiritual realm. All the study that we do to research, to understand our next incarnation, choose the trials that we need to experience. And God allowed us to happen because the trials that we choose with the assistance of the good spirit is because we are strong enough to bear. And it's very important that we make a plan that all of us can succeed, because we understand our families is a school. It's a school of blessings, a school of learning the lessons that we haven't learned before. It is an opportunity for us to progress. And we are talking now about the new era of regeneration. We all talking, we hear that over and over in so many lectures, the new regeneration. But what that means, we needed to learn to vibrate in this new era, in the new generation. And especially we're talking about is a new level of learning how to love. So all these studies that we have in the family ties has the ultimate goal for us to learn how to love a little more, a little better. So all this plan that is done for us to choose our family has that goal in mind. Okay? So the divine laws provided for the reunion and disagreements in sanctity of the family, the stage of evolution, and the levels of awareness of each member of the family. So the family is formed, okay? And the planning that is based on is the divine law. So each of us has the goal to form a family in different levels. All of us as a spirit has different levels of learning, and it's organized together in the incarnation with the goal to be like a permanent workshop of evolution for us. And we understanding this family is where we're going to learn our responsibilities, our duty among each other, right? And we needed to understand that having different members in the family in different level evolution is going to have difficulty sometimes, many times, right? As we experience in life. But we needed to see that this is a sacred plan, and we needed to fulfill that plan. We don't want to risk it to waste time. to waste this golden opportunity that we have. And many times we forget that this is creating pinpoint, choosing the people we are going to reincarnate with in our family. Sometimes we encounter difficulties and we want to say, forget about it. But we need to be reminded that we choose this experience, and it's very important that we fulfill. We don't want to waste another incarnation. We have lost many incarnations because we didn't learn our lessons. We didn't do our duties. So the doctrina comes to remind us our responsibilities in the importance of the family. And many times we have the impression that we don't belong in the family. Sometimes we wish we had a better family. We wish we had reincarnated with noble spirits or a little more wiser spirits among us. But we need to understand that we reincarnate exactly in the family we need for us to progress. Sometimes it's harder to understand that because we fix our attention in the present moment. But learning our doctrine, we need to put things in perspective and understand that many of the difficulties that present has a reason. And we are here to learn the lessons, to see what lesson I need to unfold here so I can make peace with the situation. Okay? So every family reflects the reality that we have within. And all of us together plan to progress. So several spirits reincarnate in the same home, but not everyone comes with the same warmth. However, this is the opportunity for their reunion and to restore the relationship, harmonizing the feelings and the same vibrational tone of affection. This is the opportunity. Definitely, we are born with opponents, sometimes people that hurt us, sometimes even enemies, old enemies. And sometimes we reincarnate with people that we have harmed tremendously or someone that have harmed us deeply. But also, many difficulties and sufferings is what everybody needs to learn to act correctly. So of course, we wish we didn't need to go through that, but unfortunately, we have not learned all the lessons from Jesus because Jesus said, reconcile while your enemy in your way. And we fail to do that sometimes, many times in other incarnations. So we reincarnate with someone that we have some business unattended, unresolved. And remember, he said, otherwise you're going to be in a prison and you don't get out there until you pay the last cent. So it's very important that we learn to reconcile and make peace. So we don't have harbor any animosity in our heart. That's the way we are going to progress. That's the way we're going to enter in the next reincarnation. That's the way we are going to enter in the regeneration. We need to make the peace in our heart. So the family is an opportunity for us to make peace with that kind of people. So we have the opportunity to repair, to make amends. If we hurt someone and if we contribute for them to be disharmonized, it's our responsibility to support them in that evolution. And the mercifulness of our Father, he also allowed to come in the same family our friends that help us in this task. That's what is a blessing. So reciprocal difficulties between family members often prevent us from achieving the equilibrium in the relationship when we do not have enough force to control and eliminate our body tendencies that we bring within. In such cases, we cannot understand the difficulty that the other has. In fact, it's the tool we need to correct our own imperfections and weakness. So having that understanding that we reincarnate with the spirits that we needed to reconcile. So sometimes the vibration is going to be difficult. Some of the members create some difficulties, but everyone is having the opportunity to eliminate the bad tendencies that we bring within. So many times, a difficult member of the family, is the child or the brother or sister or spouse, is the perfect tools. Is exactly what we need to correct our own imperfections and weakness. So the doctrine educates us the cause of our afflictions, and we know that we create our afflictions. Afflictions are the consequences of our choices. So invite us not to look just in the present moment, knowing that we are having difficulties with one member in the family. There is a cause of that. For some reason, we are together to make it the learning. And many people, it's so easy to get along with some members of our family. We don't need to do anything, it's flow. Affection, there is no difficulties. So those are the people that we already embrace as a family member, right? And the other ones that is creating difficulty, we are invited to be as a family member, okay? And we have a question here. We might even had asked to be with them. Absolutely. So when we are in the spiritual world in that planning, and we know that we harm someone, and many of us, when we get home, we see the script that we're supposed to do in our incarnation, and we don't do it. When we get it there, we say, oh, I failed again. We study, we research, and we are planning because we want to repair. So we ask the opportunity for us to reincarnate with these people, with this person, to reconcile. So it's absolutely right, Carolina. We ask to come with these difficult people. It's because we are at fault. So it is important that we work in our own imperfections so we can open our hearts, because it's not easy to make a peace with someone that sometimes we know, we feel in the vibration that is our enemy. How many times we feel, but we didn't reconcile in the past. So we are given another chance to reconcile. That's why we are allowed to reincarnate in the family. And the mercy of God sometimes comes as brother, sometimes as a child, sometimes as a mother. We try in all positions possible until we learn to reconcile. And have in mind that sometimes we won't be able to love them the same way we love our family members that we have affinity. But at least we'll be neutral and create no resentment in our heart. If we live neutral with this person, we already have a step ahead. So we are going to see how important for us to use the love to do all this work. So they are lessons. The family bring lessons. They bring lessons that we have not yet learned. Encountering that family member that we are having difficulty with, we need to ask ourselves, what is the lesson that life is bringing to me here? Is it patience, acceptance, forgiveness? We need to remember it's an opportunity for us repair the relationship. And the invitation that our doctrine says, the lessons of this said, do not postpone it anymore. Do it today. We do not know how much time we have. In these days, more than ever, we don't know. Things are so different now in consciousness that more than ever, the invitation is do your homework right now. Don't postpone the opportunity to make peace with that person. And through the relationships, it's that we are going to improve ourselves. Because for us to accept, that doesn't mean not to agree with the wrongdoing they might be doing, but accepting that we are different and accept that you're going to, in your heart, embrace what is different. embrace that we are going to act with dignity. We are not going to respond to their wrongdoing. That's mean acceptance, acting according to our own moral values and our dignity. And Jesus said, respond with goodness, any bad tendency. So that's the challenge for us. That's why the family is a school, because sometimes you get an invitation to give in the same token, right? The answer. You receive it here, bam. In our instinct, we give the words back. But the goal here is to breathe in and choose how you're going to react. Better yet, how you're going to act. Because when we can act according to our own integrity, we are ahead of the game. Because we are going to give our example. And forgiveness gives us the freedom to not to suffer with someone else's wrongdoing. Okay? She said, agree to disagree. Exactly that. Sometimes we need to agree and disagree. It is a very respectful way, because that's what it is. The family is about the acting with respect. Those are our duties, our values that is at the table. We needed to develop those good qualities. So the mission, we must understand that when we produce a body, the soul who incarnates in it has come from the spiritual world in order to progress. Know your duties and put all your love in leading this soul to God. So that's the mission when we are forming a family. The parents, when they have a child, they decided to have a child knowing that this body that is coming is going to incarnate a soul. And our duties is to lead that spirit to God. That's our mission. Do whatever it takes for us. That's very important. So our doctrine, our gospel, the chapter is explained very clearly. When a child comes to our life, this beautiful baby, we don't remember who that person was, who that spirit was in the other incarnation. God provides us the most beautiful, tender being. So we develop our love towards that being. So we have the opportunity to learn how to love that spirit that is incarnate now, this little soul that is under our responsibility. So it's very important that we have that heart. And to do that, we needed to nurture it, to care for it, and also study that spirit that's going to start to develop. This little child, since the beginning, is going to start slowly, slowly showing their characteristics, their tendencies. That's why we have the spirit of 6 years in our infancy. So the spirit is like a blank paper. Nothing is there. For 6 years, developing slowly, slowly. It's like the soul is slowly, slowly, it is awakening the body. So it's very important that as a parents have the mission to observe that child. And any roots, like a good gardener, any roots of weeds that we notice, any sign of selfishness, any sign of pride, sign of egoism, go there and take it out. Because in this way, we support that spirit to grow with moral values. Teaching about Jesus lesson, that's why it's so important. The child comes to the center to learn about Jesus in the evangelization. So that's our duty, to take care and lead that child to God. One day, God is going to ask us, what did you do with the child that I put under your care? So it's a big mission that we have. So educating with love is the most effective method to reach balance in the family. Educate ourselves to better educate our family by our own example. So in order for us to do that, to create the opportunity for us to educate a child, we needed to work in ourselves. Because if that child, it is a reincarnation of one enemy, sometimes some mothers feel right away. They feel the energy, the animosity, we can't explain. So many mothers cry because they cannot love their babies and they do not understand. So they get depressed. Many women suffer a lot because of that. But the doctrine explains they start feeling already the animosity. So it's very important that we educate ourselves so we can also recognize that whatever low feelings I have, I need to educate myself. I need to go within and clean my heart so I can be open to embrace. And having the understanding the doctrine, we know that there's work to be done. And that's the joy for us to study, to educate ourselves, because then we can educate our family. We can create this environment that we have the possibility to learn to be fraternal, to have the responsibility and to fulfill our duties. So our families, our closest neighbor. No point of trying to love the world if we are unable to love our own family. Do not wait for the love of others or recognition for their gestures. Take the first step. So we learn in the gospel that our families is our closest neighbor. So that's why it's so important that we educate ourselves so we can learn to love the ones around us. Even though if we feel the adversity, the animosity is in our education to overcome and dissolve the knots. And we do that because our duties are going to be fulfilled. We do that because we want to progress and we want to support our family members to progress. So that's why we need to take the first step and not waiting for recognition if they are doing their part. Because as a parents, we want to do everything we can to take our children through a good, close actions towards God. We need to educate, show responsibility, set the boundaries necessary, take it to the evangelization. That is not an option. It's like you go to school for your intellectual understanding and you go to center for your moral understanding. There are two wings that we need to help our children to develop. If that spirit does not fulfill their duties, we did everything we could. And one day, the seeds we have planted is going to flourish. But if we don't do our job, then it's going to be very hard for us. When we disconnect, we know once again we fail. And waiting for another opportunity to put all those spirits together, some people waiting hundreds of years. So we don't want to waste any opportunity. And for that is very important, as Joanna Giangeli said, the union of couple. It is the divine law that only through love the spirit is fulfilled, the fullest. And the family is the place that enhances this feeling, that unfolds the expression of tenderness, abnegation, and affection. How important is the union of the couple? Because in that atmosphere, we create a very nice, loving environment for our children. Very, very important. Sometimes when the couple is not aligned and they point at each other, not taking responsibility, that create a lot of difficulties for the family. And we are in a great risk for not fulfill our learning in our duties and also damage it tremendously because the children losing that fraternal environment became or to learn. So it's very important our responsibility to learn, to align ourselves with our couples, our partners. But the most important is to create a loving atmosphere for our children. And it's just because you're mad at someone doesn't mean you need to stop to loving them. I love that one, so I brought it for us. Because when we created this fraternal, loving union in the couple, we are safe to express this is not right, I'm this and I'm that. Because it's safe. In that loving fraternal, we can be ourselves and express because we are acting with respect, based in this fraternal atmosphere. When that is breaking, it's not safe to share, and our children are going to feel that. So if we want the children, if we want to embrace everyone in the family, it's very important that we create fraternal ambience in our homes. The meaning of earthly existence is to give the Spirit in his incarnation process the chance to dignify the achievement of commitments of love. So it's very important, the love commitment that we make. We know that we are going to, a chance for us to fulfill our duties with these love commitments. Very important for us to be aware and to be reminded that one day we make that commitment. So as a parents, the moral discipline is to conduct the spouse or partners is relevant factor for the organization of the family. So as a union of the couple, it's very important for us to take responsibility as a parents. The importance that we take responsibility for our own moral inventories, our moral learning process, so we can fulfill the responsibilities of parents. Many times, some of the parents are so immersed in their own difficulties, they cannot attend to the needs of the children. And we fail in our duties because we don't even see the needs of the children, because we're too self-involved with our own stress and our own difficulties. So the moral discipline is very important for this organization to succeed. As a parents, it's our responsibility to take care of us. We need to take care of the mother that takes care of that child. We need to take care of the father that takes care of that child. So we need to take care of us. So we are present enough, loving enough, refresh enough to take care of our children, to see the needs of the child. Very important. And as a parents, we are sower. We needed to put our seeds of love. And we know we had some children that's going to be just the seed we throw in the roadside, that whatever we say goes nowhere, the wind takes. Sometimes our word go among the thorns, sometimes on the rocky ground, and our goal is the seed goes on the fertile soil. Eventually it gets there. So our goal is to seed in love with our children, with our family members. Eventually, it's going to work on their heart. The soil of their heart is going to be fertile. But as a good soil, we just do it. We are not expecting the harvest. We're just seeding love all the time with our children and with our family. With our children, children are often skilled teachers who help parents to climb to the evolution through the lessons of suffering that apply to them or through acts of tenderness that enrich them. So it's very important that many of us studying the doctrine are needed to unlearn that the intelligence, the artist ability, the temperament, good or bad, the aggression, they were born like that. God gives them like this. Many people don't have any ideas, or if the child has a good talent, that's a gift from God. We need to unlearn that, because we need to understand that every child that comes to us in our family, just like us, is a spirit that has lived. So all the good tendencies they bring, they have already learned in previous life. The same way, the bad tendencies that start showing up, especially in the childhood, they also learn in the past life. So we need to unlearn that and see that to be open to create an ambience where the children can learn the good tendencies they need to get closer to God. That's our goal. So it is important that as having these eyes, these children is a precious being that is entrusted to us so us can do some good guidance, set boundaries, help develop all good tendencies on them, and take care of any weeds from the low tendencies that's showing up. If we fail to do that and when they are little, and in the teenagers' time, it's going to be even more accentuated, much more difficult because you have in the teenagers' time, is when have the full explosion of our low tendencies. That's why we say it's so difficult the teenage, because it's the explosion of the body tendencies from the past. So the parents who failed to notice the weeds and their temperament, the low tendencies when they were a little child, it's going to have a lot harder days and the teenagers' time. And if we fail to correct and set the support they needed to help them to learn new values, you can expect to have a lot of ungrateful children later on. So having all that understanding is an inspiration for us to pay close attention to our children. It's a precious being that God put in our hands for us to educate them. And the other way, us as children has the responsibility to take care of our mothers and fathers and honor them, period. Just because we are born, just because we are here. No judgment. I agree some parents did a very good job in their duties. Some failed miserably. But it's not our job to judge them. This is between them and God. Our job is to honor them just for the fact they brought us here. Just for that itself, we should be very grateful. So pay attention to them, attend to their needs, especially in old age. Give them all the assistance they need. They are not your children again. Many people say, oh, my parents become my children. No, they never become our children. They are our parents. They need our respect and our honor all the time. Very, very important to see both. So especially for our children to see how we treat our parents, because that's the example we're going to give you how they're going to treat us later on. Among the brothers and sisters, the example of unity and respect between parents also becomes balance and then the base of safety for children, those who have as brothers in an evolutionary experience. How very important the union of couple that reflect the respect among the brothers and sisters. And of course, this is a very important lesson because sometimes our brothers and sisters are the enemies. The animosity is going to be very clear sometimes. More important than ever is to educate the children to respect one another. And again, like Carolina said, let's agree that we disagree here, but educate the brothers and sisters to respect each other, not attack each other, not say names to each other, not to judge their actions. And learn they need to respect each other, even when their actions are funny or not so nice. But the respect needs to be present. And for that, it requires that we check how we are treating our brothers and sisters in our family. So our children can see how all the relationship is seen, and they learn it by observing our actions. Remember, our children, our family, more than important than our words is our actions. The grandparents are given to the task of loving grandchildren, but careful so as not to make them proud, special compared to other children, learning to extend the family ties with those who suffer deprivation, develop the germ of universal love. So here is another thing that is very, very important that we unlearn, because many of us, I'm a grandmother, we have this mistaken idea that we can do whatever we want with our grandchildren. Oh, the grandparents is to spoil. We need to be very careful because we have our dose of responsibility there. Because it's very important that we respect the education that is given to the child. And many times we compare, we invite our grandchildren for pride and egoism. Sometimes we put in comparison and giving food for the ego. So it's very important, grandparents, that we give a good example so we can love them, we can enjoy them, but be very careful with our actions so we cannot spoil them. Many times we hear, oh, here you can do whatever you want. So we are creating the not unbalanced relationship with the parents. So we need to be, as a grandparents, supportive of the parents of the child and respect their balance in the house. So we have all those perspectives to reflect and these duties that the family needs to learn. So the more we educate ourselves, more viewpoints we see. So learning to respect the child, to hear the child. So it's part of our duties. So we learn in our own inner transformation, the more aware we are of our actions, the more aware we are how we treat others, and especially the children and grandchildren. So the family is a strong hold of collective work in which all have a duty to help. The family member that is better informed can more easily help those in need of understanding the lessons yet to learn. This is so beautiful because we learn that it is a work, it's a collective work. Some of the spirits here know a little bit more of this lesson. So the one who knows a little bit more this lesson has the responsibility to help others to learn this other lesson. And many times we are in a family that many lessons needs to be learned. But God offers a member of our spiritual family to find us as a good friend that support us sometimes even more than our brothers and sisters. So it is like a collective work. They say like we need a village to raise a child, right? We need support. We need it to be together so all the family can have a successful incarnation. So everybody learn to succeed. So there is no comparison. Sometimes we know a little bit more of certain lessons, but everybody has a little thing to learn, even the difficult ones. They are helping us to learn our own lessons. So they are helping in their way. So it's very important that we have that at heart. How important for us to have this duty and responsibility. Let's help one another. So the whole message of the gospel is we are invited to exercise love. We are invited to progress. We don't know how to love all that well yet. We're kind of learning. So in those difficulties, with those difficult members, that's where the exercise comes. Because it's a whole lot of practice for us to learn how to love. Because we needed to heal so many illusions and assumptions what love is. Because we are so compare love with possess someone, you know? It's our love is so mixed with other tendencies that we don't even see, right? So the whole gospel study help us exercise love. Because in order to exercise love, we are also invited to progress. There's no way we can expand our ability to love if we are not willing to progress. What that means is study within our tendencies and try to change and acquire more virtues and dissolve our defective characters. So it's a whole deal. So altogether, we are learning to progress. So family, when we talk about family, we talk about Jesus, and we talk about the gospel. At such time as the noble spirits get close to the family, contributing to their inspiration, their specific needs, energy exchange, and offering to guide those who are willing to receive their assistance. More than ever, we need to understand we are not alone. More than ever, we need to invite Jesus to our home. More than ever, we need to ask assistance, inspiration. Cooperation is always better than dispute. Absolutely. Because it is in the gospel that we learn that we need to ask the good spirits to help us to fulfill the duties and learn to cooperate, like Caroline says, to solve the animosity within, to solve the animosity with others. And we're starting to exercise law. So if you're experiencing disputes in your family, if you experience animosity, check a look in your heart and do your part. Ask the good spirits to get close to your family and give them the inspiration because they are ready to offer us guidance. So, for instance, if we have a lot of trouble with a child or with someone else, a brother or a mother or father, any other member of the family, you can pray like the gospel says. One of us did something wrong. We don't know what it is, but help us to dissolve our animosity. Help us to be inspired, to do our inner transformation. So at least we can leave this incarnation neutral. Maybe you need another incarnation to learn how to love. But just to be neutral is already a good step. And we'll be surprised when we clean our heart, our vibration changes. And we emanate a little bit more peace. So our eyes is more compassionate, more generous. And it's amazing when one breaks the animosity, it's like there is more air for the other person to see. Because it needs two people to tango, it is a fact. So when we do our part, it is amazing. If the other person is ready, there is more possibility for the affinity to start to develop. The animosity started to break in, and we start to look at things differently because we free ourselves from the resentment, for whatever it is. So asking the good spirits and the gospel, it is a fabulous way to help to dissolve any difficulties the family has. We need to really trust that there are so many good spirits around us, and they are all whispering for us, inspiring us, but we need to be willing to receive their assistance. That's why it's so important that we do our inner transformation, that do a gospel at home so we can open our heart, open our mind, take a little layer of our pride, our arrogance. I'm right. We don't want to be right or happy. We want to be free. Because just when we are free from all those animosity, that we're going to have peace of mind. And the good spirits are here to help us. We need to trust. So, in the family, home in plenitude. A house is made of bricks and cement, but a home is a construction of values and principles. When the gospel penetrates the home, the heart does open more easily to the divine master. Very, very important that we are committed with this understanding. When the gospel penetrates the home, the heart's door open more easily to the divine master. Very important because there is no home, family home, if we don't have this moral and values and principles. So whatever is happening in our home, we need to check, am I doing my part, my share? Am I taking the first step to be an example of the gospel in my own home? It is an opportunity, and it's so okay if you're not doing that. But it is about time here now that we do it. It is amazing. It is amazing when we open our heart and say in our prayers, Dear Lord, I cannot stand this person. It's very difficult family member, but I want to open my heart. I don't know what I did wrong, but I know if I'm incarnate with him or her, it's because I need to make peace. Make me willing to make peace. Make me willing to take responsibility for my share. And when we are willing, the good spirits are there because the Spirit book said if we do a little effort, boom, they put a lot of effort to help us. God, in His mercifulness, help us. Just one bit we do, one action, the goodness cover a multitude of the wrongdoing. We just needed to do that first step to understand that we don't want to waste one more day. We want to do everything we can to transform our family in the most peaceful family can be. We create an atmosphere in our home with the gospel that create a circle of light around our home. So every time we enter our home, we are immediately showered by the light of Jesus. And with that in mind, there is more chance for us to make peace and to embrace all the family members. Because when we go back home, we're going to be celebrated from our spiritual family. We're going to say, wow, will you include this 3 or 4 person more in our spiritual family? We are going to be celebrated with our efforts. So this is the invitation for us to really meditate over the lesson, read the gospel about, read these other books that inspire us. So many books in our doctrine that inspire us to do our job. Because in the regeneration, what that means that the goodness is going to vibrate within us. More goodness than low tendencies. Right now, more low tendency vibrates on us. It's very hard. We need to put a lot of method, a lot of effort to emanate goodness. So the invitation is for us to change that. So taking care of our family environment, taking care what kind of words I'm saying inside of my house, because we know the power of words. Sometimes one word is like a stone, a mental stone that we throw in each other. So taking care of clean the environment of our home with the gospel, make sure that we put lots of drops of love daily, cultivating this family, fraternal atmosphere for us to do more than ever that we are together is very important. And I would like to finish reading with us this prayer that I think is so beautiful. I put some words together that helps me a lot, so I want to share with you. So let us pray to God that we all get to love our family more and more like Jesus loved us, to be sensitive like Mary, so that our arms are even more welcoming to our family, that we have determination. We are workers and caregivers of our family as Joseph was. May we be ours improving ourselves as the disciples of the beloved Master Jesus. We have faith, perseverance, and strength of the early Christians. We make the best of this opportunity with our family, which is a magnificent chance for us to evolve. And that's the message today, my friends.